So, TaylorMade Sim 2, it looks like, is officially here. The new TaylorMade Sim 2 drivers have officially hit the USGA and R&A conforming golf club list. Now, this is pretty big news, as we've been waiting for these drivers for a while, and TaylorMade have even started releasing some social media marketing material on these drivers, just giving us a little tease of what these drivers might be incorporating, a little glimpse of what they're going to look like, and so far it looks pretty interesting. Now, there's going to be officially 3 drivers: TaylorMade Sim 2, TaylorMade Sim 2 Max, and TaylorMade Sim 2 Max D. And what's the story with these drivers? Well, TaylorMade Sim 2, it looks like, is going to be the more low spinning driver, I guess, for ideally the better player. Sim 2 Max is going to be the more forgiving, slightly higher MOI and more stability driver. And Sim 2 Max D is obviously going to be the draw bias version of Sim 2 Max, with maybe a little bit more weight in the heel, helping you turn over that toe and hit those big draws that everyone loves to hit. And we also have more photos of these golf clubs, and also the TaylorMade Sim 2 fairway woods have obviously dropped as well, and I'm going to be doing a separate video on those. So make sure you guys do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you guys think. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at the photos of this driver and talk through what's being teased through in some of this marketing material. So we have some black and white photos here, which are for the USGA and R&A conforming club list. And at first glimpse, there's nothing we haven't talked about before, but there are some things we are going to be talking about in a moment which are slight news to us and look to be quite exciting. So here we have TaylorMade Sim 2, and it's pretty much exactly what we expected. It's all carbon fiber on the crown, it looks like, and on the sole of the golf club, and then it has this forged aluminum or aluminium, however you want to say it, around the back of the driver, and it has the weight quite far back and quite low in the head, similar to the TaylorMade Sim driver, and then it has a low spin weight quite far forward in the head. Now, there are some big stories for us to talk about with this driver. One of those stories is the removal of technology. It's the removal of the movable weight tracks that used to be in TaylorMade drivers. They've been in TaylorMade flagship drivers for over 10 years. So this is a big deal. You'd have to go as far back as the TaylorMade R5 driver to basically not have some movable weight in the driver head. And it looks like these drivers will not have movable weights, but they are injected again with some sort of speed foam or some sort of material in the club faces, and have that speed slot so that TaylorMade can, to a very high specification and quality control, make sure that ball speed off the club face is pushed right up to the limit. Now, what else is new about this driver? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the other two, and then I'm going to give you guys all the new information that's going with this driver, because there is one particular big story that has me curious about this driver. So now let's take a look. This is TaylorMade Sim 2 Max, and I don't know if it's probably just this photo. It looks like the details on the bottom of it stand out quite a bit more, but I think that's just the lighting. It looks like the graphics are similar. For some reason in this photo they just stand out a bit more than the Sim 2. But in this driver, we have, again, weight in the back, weight in the front, and this looks like it's more to the heel. I think it's just to counterbalance that weight a little bit more. The head shape of this looks similar, but maybe slightly different. Weight maybe even further back. It's really interesting. It will be interesting to see the differences between the Sim 2 Max and the Sim 2. I think it's mostly going to be differences you'd see in performance. I think the head shapes might be very slightly different. They'll just tweak the weighting a little bit. So you'd see this being maybe, hopefully, a bit higher launch and higher spin, and the Sim 2 being a mid-launch and kind of low spinning driver. But it's kind of interesting, actually, because other than the shape compared to the Sim 2, not too much has changed, just the shape, and it looks like the position of that weight a little bit. Now let's take a look at the Sim 2 Max D, where that weight has gone right into the heel. And apparently a few PGA Tour players have already put this driver in play this week. You're going to see, watching the Kappa, I can't remember the name of it, the PGA Tour event out in Hawaii this week, you're going to see a lot of, well, pretty much all probably, the TaylorMade players using one of these three drivers. And Keegan Bradley apparently has already put the Sim 2 Max D in play, which is interesting because not many Tour players normally use the draw type of any of the TaylorMade products. So weight right in the heel. Other than that, shape probably slightly different again, but same technology pretty much going to every single one of these drivers, just the weighting slightly different. But what's the big story with these drivers? Because there is a pretty big story. Now, if you have seen some of the marketing material, then you're going to know about this. If not, go on to TaylorMade's Instagram account and take a look. So basically, that aluminium plate we've seen that goes in the back, this blue thing that says forged aluminium or aluminum, however you want to say it, that's right at the back of the driver, that apparently wraps around the entire crown of the driver, the entire outside of the club head. And what's the story? There seems to be some sort of story with this, and reason, obviously, as to why they've put it there and what it's going to be doing. And it's very interesting to see. So you've got that weight right in the middle, and then you've got this frame at the back. I really want to see what the story is with this, because TaylorMade have started teasing on their Instagram account some of the technology that's going to be going on with this. They've teased that this seems to be a big talking point for this driver. So what is it doing? It wraps around the outside of the crown. Well, that could be adding stability, creating a higher MOI, moment of inertia, so that you have a more stable driver head when you come into contact with the golf ball. It could be, I mean, aluminum is a pretty lightweight metal, so and they've got that weight in the middle, so I don't think it's going to be adding weight. It just seems to be the talking point for them might be that it helps with stability, helps with forgiveness, and yeah, I don't know what they're going to say other than that, but I'm very interested to find out. TaylorMade always has a huge amount to say when it comes to the new technology in their drivers, and they've always have a story. And it's going to be really interesting to hear what that story is with this driver, because from first looks, it doesn't have a huge amount of technology in it. It seems to be a simplified version of, well, just a TaylorMade driver, and I'm sure they will be making sure that performance is still there in these drivers, that you're not losing any performance, and hopefully increasing performance. But it's going to be very interesting to find out how they have done that, when seemingly to the naked eye they've taken some technology away from it. So maybe they found that They could create similar, if not better, performance with the removal of technology like the movable weight track. And one thing that is important to note with the movable weight track is when you do have a movable weight track in a driver, and this is why a lot of brands are going away from this, when you have a movable weight track in a driver, it's not so simple as just you have a movable weight track and it doesn't affect the rest of the driver. It takes more time and money to figure, well, in R&D, to figure out how it's going to work, and then manufacturing costs as well to implement that bit of technology. And also it can affect the sound of a driver and have effects on the weighting of a driver. Now what I mean with that is the weighting in terms of the weight placement in the head. You only want a driver to be so heavy, so if you're putting in a bit of technology like that, which is going to weigh more, then you need to save weight in other areas and make sure that everything's balanced. It's a very complicated process. So maybe TaylorMade have figured that for the mass market, they can give better or equal performance with less technology. One other thing I'm very, very curious to know is what price this driver is going to be coming out at. I can't imagine it's going to be very much less than previous versions, but at the same time, if we're getting less technology in a driver, and seemingly to us, it might be costing TaylorMade less to make these drivers. It might be, we don't know, but it might be if there's less technology in it. Then should we be saving money on it? Should we still be paying the same premium price if there's less that we're getting back from it? Not sure on that yet, but we will have to wait and see. Now, TaylorMade have released these TaylorMade Sim 2 irons, TaylorMade Sim 2 fairway woods as well, and I have photos of those as well, so I'm going to be making a separate video that will be coming out maybe a day or two after this, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that video. That's pretty much all we have to talk about. It's an exciting time in the golf industry. This time of year is always exciting. First event of the week this week in Hawaii, and I love the Hawaii events. They are absolutely incredible. And we'll be seeing a bunch of new technology, such as Jon Rahm switching to Callaway as well from TaylorMade, which I will also be talking about in another Callaway epic speed driver video, which will be coming out very, very soon. So if you guys want to see those videos, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, comment your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you guys think. And as always, guys, grip it and rip it.